To be fair, Formula One is a difficult sport. Just because these automakers have had success in commercial and passenger vehicles does not guarantee that they will be successful in racing. In the glamorous world of Formula One, as in all sports, the majority of attention is focused on the winners, who are the most successful, consistent, and impressive. A number of current Formula One teams have criticised recently proposed changes to the sport. They assert that a large influx of second-rate, bottom-of-the-ladder, undeserving teams will begin to carve a path to the pinnacle of motorsport. Because of these concerns, we will now look at the 10 most pitiful, unprepared, ill-managed, and underperforming Formula One manufacturers' teams to ever grace or disgrace the tarmac, and pray to God that they will not return to the grid. Stay tuned till the end of the video to learn more. 1. Toyota. It could not have been anyone else at the top of the list of the greatest failures in F1 history. For 8 years, the Japanese automaker spent a fortune just to win 3 pole positions, 13 podiums, and 0 victories. You must understand that Toyota invested some of the largest sums of money. They had high hopes because they were on their way to becoming the world's most prominent car manufacturer. That is why the scope of its failure is so large. Toyota underestimated the fast-paced world of Formula One from the start, believing that it could succeed with this corporate mentality. This was a great approach for models like the Corolla or Celica, but not for racing. 2. Jaguar. Despite the success of its engine, Ford did not field its own F1 team. However, in 2000, they purchased the race-winning Stewart team and renamed it Jaguar. Jaguar was owned by Ford back then. The initial plan was for this car brand to dominate Formula One as the British Ferrari. But the first year of competition was a complete failure. Eddie Irvine, who finished third in the 2001 Monaco Grand Prix, and again the following year in Monza, was Jaguar's best performer. For the next 2 years, Australian driver Mark Webber put in some fantastic performances, but the British team never finished higher than 7th in the standings. Ford dropped out and budgets were cut. After considering rebranding the team as Ford, the American manufacturer decided to exit the Grand Prix circuit. As a result, Red Bull purchased the Jaguar team in 2005, winning 4 world championships between 2010 and 2013, and is now a Formula One powerhouse. 3. Lamborghini. The Italian supercar manufacturer competed in Formula One from 1989 to 1993, with only 1 podium finish in the 1990 Japanese Grand Prix. Chrysler owned Lamborghini at the time, supplying its V12 engine to the French Leroux team and then to Lotus. Lamborghini concentrated all of its efforts on engines for the 1993 season, supplying Leroux with a new and improved V12 engine. Ayrton Senna put the McLaren Lamborghini through its paces, which was 60 horsepower more powerful and lighter than the Ford engine he was using. The Brazilian driver pushed for it to be used in the last 3 races of the 1993 season. McLaren instead signed with Peugeot for 1994, and the Lamborghini engine was never seen again in Formula One. Hopefully, Audi and Porsche will be more cautious and focus on what it takes to succeed. 4. Coloni. After a one-race debut in 1987 with Nicola Larini, but failing to qualify, Gabriele Tarquini took over for the 1988 season and finished 4 races. Over the next 3 seasons, however, the car's failure to qualify or even pre-qualify became the norm. During the 1989, 1990, and 1991 seasons, cars competed in only 5 of the 47 Grand Prix that they entered. The team was sold at the end of 1991, and in 1992, it was replaced by the equally inept Andrea Mode formula, which was banned by the FIA for the final 4 races. 5. Lotus Racing/Team Lotus. The team, founded by Malaysian businessman Tony Fernandez, ran as Lotus Racing in 2010 and Team Lotus in 2011 before the license was withdrawn, forcing a further name change to Caterham for the 2012 to 14 seasons before the team went into administration. Despite starting with drivers of the caliber of Jarno Trulli and Heikki Kovalainen, the team failed to score a single point in 94 Grand Prix over its 5 seasons, with Vitaly Petrov finishing 11th in the 2012 Brazilian Grand Prix. 6. Automobiles Gonfaronnaises Sportives. AGS competed in 80 Grand Prix, but only managed to avoid pre-qualifying 47 times and crossed the finish line 22 times. Their initial entry, which did not finish either of the 2 1986 races they entered, was built using a combination of F3000 and Renault F1 parts. The team's performance improved the following year, as it took 8 finishes before it earned a point in the final race of the 1987 season. The team, however, struggled to qualify a car over the next 2.5 seasons after the midway point of the 1989 season, and it closed its doors in 1991 with 2 races left to run. This was not helped by the constant changes at the top. 7. ATS. Despite scoring a point on its debut in 1977 while using a Penske Racing PC4 chassis, it became clear from 1978 that the endeavor would not be successful. 7 drivers were employed in that 1 year alone, including future champion Keke Rosberg, at a time when driver substitution was commonplace. After 6 seasons of using the Ford Cosworth DFV, the preferred engine at the time, ATS grew weary of its unreliability, and team principal Günther Schmidt used his connections in Germany to secure turbocharged BMW M12/13 engines. They may have increased 1 lap speed, but reliability plummeted even further. And after BMW stopped allowing the team to use its engines because of the bad PR, the ATS team folded with only 8 points from 101 Grand Prix. 8. Forti. Forti was an oddly well-remembered team considering how little time they spent in Formula 1. They did not score a point in 28 races and were not even listed in the constructors' standings in either season they raced. After finding some success in F3000, owner Guido Forti made the decision to move to Formula 1 in 1995 after securing significant funding, particularly from Brazil after hiring driver Pedro Diniz. However, reliability hurt the team significantly, as it did in many other instances. On this list, improvements were made after a disastrous start to the 1995 season, when the cars finished several laps behind, but not enough for Diniz, who left at the end of the year, leaving the team without money for 96, when Forti withdrew his team from Formula 1 due to the behind-the-scenes ownership disputes. 9. Pacific. Pacific is yet another illustrative case that success cannot be bought. The Pacific PR01, which made its F1 debut in 1994, a year later than anticipated, was created using the drawings of an unsuccessful Reynard 1991 attempt. However, Benetton had also bought the blueprints and had used the car to win races in 1992. By the time Pacific arrived on the scene, the designs were out of compliance with the law and updates were ineffective because they lacked a fundamental understanding of the design. Pacific chose to return to F3000 after failing to finish any races in 1994 despite a slight speed improvement in 1995. 10. Zakspeed. Zakspeed made the bold move from DRM, the precursor to DTM, to F1 in 1985 and naturally struggled during its debut season, competing in 10 of the 16 races and retiring 9 times. Although there was an improvement in the following year, with 6 top 10 finishes and a 5th place finish for Martin Brundle in the second race of 1987 in San Marino, it proved to be the team's only points finish, and thus began a steady decline. When turbos were banned in 1989, Zakspeed was forced to use an uncompetitive Yamaha engine, and its cars failed to pre-qualify 30 times in 16 races, signaling the end of the series and a return to touring cars. What is your thoughts on the failure of these F1 manufacturers as they invested massively in the sport? Please let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any of our incredible videos. Keep an eye out for the next video. Bye for now.